Hi there, Cayetano. Let me just get this done. Here we are.
Hi, good evening.
Hi. Okay then. So today's our second session. And what we're going to be doing is practicing the same task we started with last session, which is task 1 of the speaking section. So you know what to do already. In this task, you will get the question. You just have to read it. And then you will get 15 seconds to prepare your response and 45 to speak. So remember, the question is always like, do you know, about choosing. So you just need a short introduction, like, I definitely believe that, and then your reason, and then your example, right? So you remember how this was? Question, 15 seconds to prepare and 45 to speak.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna start, we're gonna be a bit harder today. So we're gonna go with harder tasks, maybe. Okay. All right, let's go with this one. This one is, do you prefer to use battery-powered automobiles, or do you believe that gasoline-powered cars are still a good option? Illustrate your argument with reasons and supporting details. So, battery automobiles or gasoline vehicles? 15 seconds to prepare. Okay. So, ready? You can start speaking now.
In my opinion, it's better to use battery in the automobile instead of gasoline because the energy that this type of cars that use is more cleaner and produce less CO2, and it's better for the nature. Therefore, you can, furthermore, you can charge your car in your house. You don't need it to go to the gas station, and maybe only you need to go for the gas station and travel for this thing.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
So you went over a bit of time, but that's okay. I liked your response. I liked your argument. I would try to add an example though. I think in this case you got two reasons. You know, one was related to the environment and the other one was about how you charge your car. So I like that you used the environment argument because that's really common. And most of these questions that are like talking about things that you don't really have to know about, you can relate it back to the environment. And you can also have that response kind of prepared beforehand, you know? So good. Careful with the transitions. I noticed you were struggling a bit, but I like that the fact that you use them. And careful also with the third person form of verbs, like these cars, I don't know, or this type of, or the energy they use, and produces. So I noticed some, you know, and produces. Just careful with that third person and try to add an example maybe. So actually the thing that you said about charging your vehicle, like you have to go somewhere else to a gas station to get it done, that could also count as an example. So just try to add that, for example, I don't know, I know your argument could be it's more comfortable to use electric cars, and then you say, for example, you don't have to charge it this way. So just try to make it look like you had that example. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Let's go with this one. So this one goes, do you think it's a good idea to save about 5% of your salary each month? Give reasons and details to support your argument. Saving 15 seconds now. Okay. So please start speaking now.
Yes, I agree with save 5% of your salary each month because you have money for the future. This money you can use for investment in education, buy a house or car, anyway. And for emergency situations, for example, if you feel sick or you need a surgery or something with relation with the medical situation, these kinds of payments is a lot is expensive, so could be useful this money.
Okay, awesome. So I think that was perfect, really good. You got the argument, you got the example, the transition and everything. And I also like that you have some vocabulary, related to this. Like if you need to invest this money, so those type of words also always help. What I could say, maybe pronunciation a bit. For instance, the word money, I think that's a one where you can maybe try to practice pronouncing. But regarding content and grammar, everything's good. It's good, getting harder. Okay. There's one I'm looking for. Okay. All right, so here's this one. Explain whether you agree or disagree with the following statement. Countries should no longer be allowed to sell sugary drinks such as Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Then give specific details in your argument. So read it one more time. And 15 seconds. Okay. So please start speaking now.
in my point of view, in this kind of situation, the countries uh, don't should permit this kind of sugar drinks. Why? Because I know many situations that families start have problems with the diabetic problems, and this cause a lot of problems. I know one familiar of my dad died the last week for diabetic situation. So it's a hard situation. The sugar, oh, it's painful.
Okay, I'm having some trouble listening to you. I don't know. It's kind of it's not cutting off, but it's a bit. I don't know. I cannot hear you that loud.
Yes, in my case, it's the same because I couldn't see the time.
The timer, really? Oh my god.
Yes, but I don't know what happened.
I don't know
What
if you got.
happened?
All right. But I think that was really cool as well. And this actually was a hard one, because yeah, it's not something that you would expect. So, but I like the way that you explain it. Don't forget to add the transition before the example. So when you were talking about this family that that had these health problems, you just use the transition. The transition, like to illustrate. I know this family that had this problem. Remember that at the beginning, the phrases from my point of view, right? So not in my point of view. You could say, in my opinion, or from my perspective, or from my point of view, or I don't know, as far as I'm concerned, things like that. And remember that careful with timing. I think that at the beginning you took too long to just tell me what your position is. So you took like 20 seconds for that. Try to make that introduction as fast as you can. Like, from my point of view, I think this is a good idea. And then you tell me why. Or you don't even need to repeat, what the question is, so that you have time at the end. So you could just say, yeah, I for sure agree with this idea. And then you tell me the reasons, right? Since there's a lot of diabetic problems. So just that timing, the transition, and at the beginning, the phrase.
Okay.
Okay. Now, all right, again, let's continue with this topic. So explain whether you agree or disagree with this statement. Every country should be required to reduce its carbon emissions by at least 25%. Then give specific details in your argument. We're gonna see. Okay. So you can start with your response now.
I agree with the reduce CO2. In this case, why? Because the problem in the future is the global warming, and the global warming start to the ice start to provoke a lot of inundation. For example, in China, I watched news and they had a lot raining, so provoke many died and many problems with cars.
Okay, good. So some quick tips before we go. Careful with environment vocabulary like global warming instead of global warm. And I know it was a hard one, but try to have something prepared for every single every single question that's related to climate change or global warming or anything related to the environment, really. So something you could say is, for every single question that's like this one, you could just say, so yeah, I think that we should do everything that's in our power to stop damaging the earth. And then you just tell me why. And then you can say, because animals are dying, or just look for one example that you're always going to use in case you have an environment question, because they're kind of the same all the time. So you could always have that. Don't forget the verb is to cause instead of to provocate. So careful with that. And just, prepare a response for every single environment question that you get. Okay, Gaetano. So bye-bye. I'll see you in class.
Bye.
Bye. Hi, Diana.
Hi, teacher.
Hi there. So today we're going to be practicing the same question we started with last session, task 1. So remember, in this question, you get the question, you read it, and then you get 15 seconds to prepare and 45 to speak.
Okay.
You just do a short introduction with your position, then your argument or your reason, and then the example. Okay?
Yes.
All right, then. So let's start with the first one. Okay. So here's the one. Do you prefer to use battery-powered automobiles, or do you believe that gasoline-powered cars are still a good option? Illustrate your arguments with reasons and supporting details. So would you prefer electric cars or gasoline-powered cars? 15 seconds to prepare. All right. So you can start speaking now. Hello?
Teacher. Okay, sorry. I have problems. Okay, okay. I prefer the battery cars because it's more cheap. The gasoline cost is some elevate in Bolivia, no, but in other countries it's elevate. For example, my mom cost in his car is maybe 500 bolivians, and the other thing, because I prefer the battery, is for the environmental pollution. I think so the gasoline affects a lot of the animals and the plants and the humans too. So for this, I prefer the battery.
Okay, nice. So I like your ideas mostly. So you got really good ideas, and they come really fast to you. You're not struggling to think of things to say, and that's good. But I think you're missing a bit of, organizations, organizing them, and also some grammar too. So first thing, you got 2 arguments. So you talked about the price. So you said that electric cars are cheaper. And second, you talked about the environmental stuff. So that's great. Just make sure to add some transitions. Like you could say, first, it's better or it's cheaper. And then you could say, furthermore, it's also good for the environment. And when you're gonna introduce your example, like the one about your mom, then make sure that you use a transition as well. Like, for example, my mom uses a gas-powered car, and gasoline right now is super high, or the price is up in the air. So just make sure that you add those transitions to give it a structure. Okay, careful with comparatives. I'm gonna write it down. make sure you practice this because you're gonna use it a lot. Like this is cheaper instead of it's more cheap, right? It's easier instead of more easy. Okay, try not to translate directly. Prices elevate. I'm not sure about that phrase. You could say the price is high, or it's expensive, or it's a ripoff. Try to use this type of, not slang, but idiomatic expressions. Careful with pronouns. Like if you're talking about your mom, it should be a her, right? So my mom, and then you said his car. So what I could tell you is try to make it plural every time. So instead of saying my mom, tell me my parents, and you're just gonna use they. So my parents and their car and they themselves and stuff. And remember, the currency, Bolivian currency is, you could just say BS, in case you want to give it an example, bis. So it costs 100 bis, but you could also talk about dollars, you know, in your responses. Where's the sign? So you don't have to, it doesn't have to be true. You could say, I don't know, 1 little costs $100, and that's okay. And yeah, so transitions in grammar, comparative, pronouns mostly, okay, but mainly transitions.
Okay. Can you give me some advices for my order, maybe?
Order, yeah. So basically depends. Right now you use 2 arguments. So if you got 2 arguments, just order it this way. First, you start with your intro, like, I definitely believe that electric cars are better, or I prefer electric cars. And then you say first, the thing I said, you know, first, and then you tell me your first argument. It's cheaper. They are cheaper. And then you could tell a good example of this is my mom. She buys gasoline every day, and it's a ripoff and stuff. And then you say, in addition, or furthermore, or what's more, and then you go with your second one, you know? It's also good for the environment. And for instance, you could add an example here, but it's not necessary. You don't have that much time.
Okay.
So this is in case you do 2. If you just want to do 1, then just argument and example.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now this one is, do you think it's a good idea to live with your boyfriend/girlfriend before marriage? Support your points with the specific examples and details. 15 seconds. Okay. Now, 15 seconds, I'm sorry, 45 seconds to speak. You can start now.
Okay, I think it's good life with your boyfriend before married because you know all of him. From my experience, no, for my mom experience, when when you have a boyfriend, when you are in a relationship, not in marriage, you always think, oh, it's beautiful, but in marriage it's too difficult. And the other reason is because you have a lot of experiences with him, and you can enjoy before marriage, because the marriage is a responsibility, it's a difficult too. So for this, I prefer this.
Okay, great. Yeah. So you're excellent with time because you have time to do two. And in this case, I mean, this one was super organized. So love that. Now you got first argument, example, you got your transitions. Like for my mom's experience, you were missing the second transition. You know, okay, so here you have your introduction. So in my, or I think, here you have your first reason, and then you say something like first, try to write that. Okay, what am I doing? So first, then you got the, for example, or to illustrate, or from my experience, then you got the example, and then you got the something like second, or furthermore, or in addition. So try not to say, and the other reason is because. So just say furthermore, you can also enjoy, or you can do this. And don't forget this one as well.
Okay.
Careful, these words, live, live. Live is the one about, you know, the internet one. And life is the noun. So,
Yeah.
so to live with your boyfriend. Pronunciation, how do you pronounce this word?
Experience.
Okay, remember that this E here is exactly like an E, so it's experience, experience. Can you say it?
Experience. Okay.
Nice, there you go. So from my mom's experience, or from my own experience, or in my experience, those are some words. Okay.
Okay.
No. Okay. Next one. Do you think it's a good idea to talk to an academic advisor before choosing your major? Support your points with specific examples and details.
Okay.
Okay. Now you can go ahead.
Okay, I think talk with your advisor is good, is the best way, because sometimes you are with a lot waves, with a lot of problems, and they know all things, they know all your problems, because they have a lot of experiences with this. And for the other hand, they have a lot, maybe solutions for your problems. For this, I think so is a good way talking with your advisor before you choose some.
Okay, great. So you even have time for that conclusion. Okay, perfect. Advice at the beginning, try, instead of saying I think, change it for something else. You can say I believe, another verb, or you could say, yeah, I believe would be good. It's like the best way to replace I think, you know, or you could also say, in my opinion, although that's also very common, like the way I see it, you could say the way I see it, talking to your advisor is a good option before choosing your major. Careful with gerunds. At the beginning, you made a mistake. You said, I think talk to your advisor is good. But at the end, you did it well. You said, so that's why I think that talking to your advisor is a good option. So remember, it's a gerund talking to your advisor. Remember, the transition is on the other hand. On the other hand, on. So on the other hand, they also know a lot of stuff and they could help you out and guide you, whatever.
Okay.
Good
Teacher, I
job.
have some question more. In case that I don't have some experiences, some example, what I need to do.
So you could always make something up. You know, you don't necessarily have to have experience in this. You could just say, so in my personal experience, before choosing my major, I had to talk to an academic advisor and it helped me big time. You know, so I'm just saying that it happened to me and it helped you. Or you could say, and it was the best thing I did or the best decision I made. So those phrases, you know, it helped me big time, or it was a good decision, or I don't regret it. So you're just repeating this and adding something. Or you can skip the example, but that's also, it's possible, you know, you don't really have to give one, although they ask for an example. But, you know, just make something up, try to do it. I'm sure you can. Okay. So, any other question?
No, teacher, thanks.
All right. So
My
see,
brother is next.
okay. Yeah,
Yes.
that is it.
Okay, thanks, teacher. Bye. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Hello, teacher.
Hi, Joaquin. Okay, so we're gonna be practicing same task, task 1. So you get the question, you get 15 seconds to prepare, and then 45 to speak. You need to make sure you give at least one reason and one argument. Okay. Any questions before we start?
Okay, and what's the difference in a reason of an argument?
No difference, it's the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. Any other question though?
No, nothing.
Okay. So this is the first one. Do you think it's a good idea to date someone who speaks a different language that you do? Support your points with the specific examples and details. Let's see. Okay. So you can start speaking now.
Sorry,
Okay.
I want a problem.
Go now.
I have a question. I don't know what's the meaning of date song.
To date someone? Okay. Basically, okay, how to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. So dating someone means that you're yeah, like salir con alguien, to date someone. So it means to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but a little bit more casual.
Okay, like a girlfriend or a friend?
No, a girlfriend or a boyfriend. So it's a couple, you know?
Okay, like a couple.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So, okay. You want 15 seconds more?
Please, teacher.
Okay, so 15 seconds. Okay. So now you can go.
Okay, I think it's better to Oh,
Is everything okay?
I forgot the word. To someone. Ah,
Date someone?
exactly word is date someone. Okay.
Okay, but don't let that stop you. You know, if you forgot the word, you could say it's better not to have a boyfriend or not to be with someone. Change it or move on to something else. Never get stuck for one word. Okay, so we're gonna
Okay.
start again. Go now.
I think it's better be with someone speaks your same language because you can understand them better and you can have a good time talking about things that you know. You can understand and communicate better. Uh, for example, in you go for a restaurant, um, if you talk in Spanish, you can make jokes about the food and other things.
Sorry, I think that was my connection. Okay, but I was saying I think that was a really good response, Joaquin. Actually, that was really cool. So you got the structure, even grammar was good. So just what happened at the beginning that never has to happen, you know, getting stuck for one word. Remember that at the beginning when you say it's better to, you need the to, right? So it's better to be with someone, not it's better be with someone. So it's better to be with someone. I like your arguments, you know, you can communicate better, you can understand each other. I like that you're using a transition, like for example, and then mention that the example was awesome. You know, if you speak Spanish, then you can do jokes about food and the other person will understand. Remember, it's if you speak a language, right? Not if you talk a language. So careful with that. And great, really great. Nothing to say. Okay. Remember to check out some vocabulary for this as well, like relationships and stuff, you know, like dating someone or breaking up with someone or couples or getting married or engagement or I don't know, like be on the rebound or that kind of stuff is also very common here. So make sure to check out some vocabulary for that.
Okay. I have to expand my vocabulary, right?
Yeah, but focus on these topics, you know, like for instance, this one is the same kind of topic. Do you think it's a good idea to live with your boyfriend or girlfriend before marriage? So to have some vocabulary here, you could say, for instance, I think it's a good idea, or I don't think this is a good idea because you need to date that person before you get married. So that vocabulary, you know, date that person, get married, that's very common. So just check this vocabulary related to these topics that we're seeing.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, let's look at this one. Seems interesting. Okay, so this one is some health experts suggest that all liquids should be eliminated from one's diet except water. What do you think, or do you think that this is a good idea to only drink water? Give reasons and details to support your argument. We're gonna see. 15 seconds. Okay. So you can start speaking now.
Okay.
Okay.
I think the reason of the water is not the only liquid that not eliminate is because the human body is communed by water. It's a 70 of water, and it's because the water is an important liquid of the human life. If you don't consume the human water, your body is will looking for substitute that water, and that water your body needs. It's important and vital liquid.
Okay. So that was a hard one. That was a tough one, I gotta admit. And you did just fine, to be honest. There are some things we need to say here. So I'm not sure if I think, the question is, do you think that we should force people to only drink water, and like we should eliminate all the other drinks that there exist, like soda or alcohol, or I don't know. So basically they're asking, do you think that it's a good idea to force people to only drink water and eliminate all other drinks from their from their lives? So they're not really asking, do you think that we should drink water, or that water is important or not? So that, remember to read the question, reread it, and understand it. Now, here's one tip I'm gonna give you. So practice, and when you're practicing, try to look for some patterns in the questions. So for instance, in this question, I'm looking at a pattern that I have seen in many other questions. So, and you can only do that by practicing, So the pattern, or the thing that I'm looking here is, forcing someone to do something. There are other questions. I'm going to give you some examples. So look at this. Because of alarming increase of carbon emissions, some believe that consumers should be forced to buy electric cars. Or, I don't know. Okay, words. So this one here, people should be required to complete 2 years of military service for their countries. Or all families should only be allowed to have one car. So that thing of forcing people to do something is a very common type of question that you get. And you could actually answer all of those questions that I just read with one single argument. You could say something like, I don't think it's a good idea to do this, because you cannot force people to do something they don't want. So even if it's not good for their health, we're free human beings, and we have the freedom to do anything we want. Or you could say the opposite, you could say, so yes, I think it's a good idea, because sometimes people need to be forced to do things that are beneficial for them. So have something prepared for this type of question. And there are others that you will see. There are others that's about punishing people. Like, do you think that people who do drugs should go to jail? Or do you think that people that drive drunk should be punished somehow? So you could still, prepare your arguments. So sometimes the tip is, sometimes it's not only, about the specific stuff that they're asking, like drinking water or cars or stuff, but you gotta look for the bigger picture and try to make it a lot easier for you. So because it's hard to know what exactly to say when you got these very specific questions, you know what I mean? So we're gonna be actually seeing this in class. I think I'm gonna talk about this as well, because maybe that could help. Okay. Is that okay? Do you get the idea? Any questions?
How can I expand my vocabulary? I miss my, it's too short, my vocabulary.
How you can expand your vocabulary? How can you
Yeah.
learn Spanish, you mean? I would say read. Just try to read. Read articles and stuff related to this type of topics. So for instance, you could read things about technology, I don't know, or you could read things about college or essays from college, or articles or stuff like that. And obviously the words that you don't know, you gotta look for them and everything. So
No, se me trabó. Hola, Adrián Ignacio.
okay, so just try to read things or articles and stuff related to these type of topics. Technology, read articles on technology, maybe on education, lifestyle, health, and look for some words that you don't know. Okay?
Okay.
Right. So I'll see you in class. Bye-bye.
My teacher.
Bye. Hi, Adrian.
Good afternoon.
Hi, thanks for joining again. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay. So we're going to be practicing task, the same one we were doing last session. So task 1, remember that they give you the question, you got to read it, and then they will give you 15 seconds to prepare your response, to think about it, maybe reread the question, and then you will get 45 to speak.
Okay.
So let's start with the first one. This is a question. You can read it. I'll give you like 5 seconds to read it. Okay. And now you get 15 seconds to prepare your response.
Okay.
Okay. So please start speaking now.
Okay, I think this is a very good question because I think battery powered automobiles are the future in the roads as we know it. But however, I still prefer gasoline automobiles because they are, at least in Bolivia, they have a bigger market, so it's easier to buy and sell them. And in the same way, I still prefer the gasoline automobiles because you can choose a lot more models than in battery-powered automobiles.
Okay, great. So I like that the fact that it was a bit different. So in this case, you started by like giving a counterclaim. So, you know, electric cars are the future. However, I still prefer gasoline powered cars. And it was different, and I like that, you know. I like that we also have some good vocabulary, like business related, like, you know, they have a big market here, at least in Bolivia. So they're easier to buy and stuff. That's good. And I like that you're using transitions in the same way and everything. And however, so what I could tell you is try to add one example, try to, I don't know, tell me, instead of giving two arguments, you could add one example. Like, for instance, I myself just bought a car and it was a lot cheaper, maybe you could say, or something like that. Just try to add one tiny example, and I think it will be good.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, let's go with this one. Do you think it's a good idea to date someone who speaks a different language than you do? Support your points with specific examples and details. So 15 seconds.
Sorry, my connection is not working well. I just entered the game.
Don't worry, 15 seconds from now on. Okay, so please, you can start now.
Well, of course, I think it's great and a very good option to date with someone that speaks a different language, not only because of the language, but also because you can know and have a lot of more knowledge about other cultures and other countries. And at the same time, I think it's a very good option to grow in your language knowledge. For instance, I got a friend that he went to a Parlana party and met a German girl, and now they are living in Germany, and he's there. He has been there the last 5 years, so he's very related with the German culture.
Okay, great, perfect. So I love your response. Now you got the example. You managed your time well, even though you were missing a bit of time, like 5 seconds, but I think still that was really good. Okay, tiny details. Remember the difference between grow and grow up. So you can grow in your I don't know, in your second language instead of you can grow up. Grow up is mostly for like physically growing up, you know.
Maybe improve, right?
Yeah, improve could work. I like that you're using different tenses, you know, like he's been there, I don't know, he's been there living in Germany for a while. Okay, pronunciation, maybe the word culture, careful with that word. Probably you're going to be using it a lot in this type of tasks.
Uh-huh.
And
Okay.
yeah, I mean, content, grammar, time was good. So no comments for that. Okay, let's look at this one. Some health experts suggest that all liquids should be eliminated from one's diet except water. Do you think that it's a good idea to only drink water? Give reasons and details to support your argument. 15 seconds. Okay, so go now.
Okay, maybe I think to start, I think those experts might have very good and solid arguments about the fact that it's a good option to only drink water. I don't agree or disagree with this statement, but in my case, I'll just drink water because I don't like cola and other sodas. Not for health because I love drink water, but I don't think it's a bad option or bad for our health to sometimes drink another thing like juice or soda or even a beer.
Okay, so I like that you made it personal and that you talked about you and what you drink or what your preferences are. They always like that, so that's cool. Now, I'm not sure, I think you were missing a bit of structure, and that was mainly because, I mean, you weren't so sure about what your position is in this matter. And try to
Yes.
make it look like you're sure, even if you're not. So go for one. If you say that you'd like to drink water personally, then tell me, yeah, I think it's a good option. And then you can tell me myself, like I drink water all the time. I don't drink anything else. I don't know. So just make it look like you're sure, and it's gonna be a lot better. You know, it's gonna be easier for the listener and the evaluator to understand what you're saying. And don't sound like so hesitating. That transition that you're using at the beginning, try not to use it there, like to start, because to start is when you have like a list of things. You know, you could say, I think this is a good idea, and then you could say to start, you can do this. Second, you can do that. What you can say instead is to begin with. You know, to begin with, I think these health experts must have their reasons and why they think this way and everything. So to begin with could replace that. Try not to use so much or overuse the word because. Look for other ones like since or as, you'd say fact that. And yeah, it's mostly about having a strong opinion about it. Okay. Okay. All right, let's go with this one. Do you think?
Sorry, one, I have a question. What word do you suggest me to use instead of because?
Like personally, I use since a lot. I think it's a very common one. But if you want to sound more formal, you could say for. But I think it's a bit too much for this one. You know, it's a bit more casual. So you could use since, or you could use due to the fact that, which is very common as well, or you could also try to like invert the order. You know, you could say instead of I think it's a good idea since you can do this, you could say since you can do that, I think it's a good idea. Or someone's next. Okay, Adrian. Nicolas, hi. Do you think you can give us like 3 more minutes?
Okay, I will wait.
Okay, thanks so much. All right, so let's do one more. Any other question?
No, that's all. Thanks.
Okay. So the final one is gonna be, okay, do you think it's a good idea to talk to an academic advisor before choosing your major? Support your points with specific examples and details. Now 15 seconds. Okay. So you can start speaking now.
To begin with, I'm totally agree that it's a very good option and a correct option to choose an advisor to help you to choose your major, since it helps you to be in the right path. He knows what your weakness are, and so you can be more prepared for your future and take the best decision as it is like choose a major is one of the most important decisions that we're going to take in our lives.
Okay, great. So good response. I think you got a lot of ideas going. Maybe I don't know, maybe your argument was a bit longer and you forgot about the example.
Yeah.
Okay, so one quick one, you could say, in my experience, I talked to an academic advisor before choosing my major and I don't regret it. Something quick. Okay, careful with gerunds. For instance, at the end you said choose a major is one of the major decisions that you will take or you will make in your life. So remember, it's choosing a major, right? It's a gerund in case. Remember the word weaknesses, strengths and weaknesses, right? And at the beginning, I'm not sure if I'm correct. Maybe I'm not, but careful with this. You know, the verb agree is just agree. So it's not I am agree or I am totally agree. So I totally agree. I'm not sure though if I hear right, if I'm wrong. Okay.
Okay.
So don't forget your example, mate.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, Adrian. Any questions now?
No, everything's clear. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll see you tomorrow in class.
Okay. Thank you very much. See you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Okay, hi there, Nicolas. Thanks for waiting. Sorry to keep you.
Hi, Andrea. No problem.
Okay. So today we're going to be practicing the same task we started with last session. So it's task 1. Remember that they will give you a question. You got to read it. And then you will be given 15 seconds to prepare your response. You can just think or maybe reread the question. And then you get 45 seconds to speak. You need to make sure that you provide at least one reason and one example will be good as well. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So I think, yeah, we can do this one. So here's the question. I'll give you like 5 seconds to read it. You can read it.
Okay.
Okay, so now 15 seconds to prepare. All right. So You can start now.
Okay, so I definitely believe that battery powered automobile will be the best option for the future years. Um, I strongly believe that mm, the society now has changed her way of thinking. Now we have a more eco-friendly um, way of produce things or create different um, services or products. So I think it's a good alternative for our environment and for all the world to start using this type of bike.
Okay, awesome. So first of all, I'd like to say that the fact that you relate to the environment, I mean, I think that's what they were looking for. You know, there are a lot of questions like this that even though they're not like directly asking about the environment, you can relate it to it. And you can even have the same response for all of the environment related questions. So I like that. Okay, what I could say, I would try to add an example maybe. So try something, even if it's quick. And regarding some maybe grammar points, remember is I strongly believe instead of I strong believe. So I strongly believe. Careful with the use of the indefinite article. So when it's something general, like one thing, you don't need to say to use the, you know, this is the right away. So I think instead of the society, you could just say I think society, or you know how that works. So check that and careful with pronouns. So for instance, you say I think the society or society has changed her way of thinking, you know, so we're not talking about her its way of thinking, you could say, or we have changed our way of thinking. So careful with those pronouns. I like though that you're using different tenses, like society has changed. So that will for sure give you some points for grammar. Careful with gerunds as well. Like, you know, society has no eco-friendly ways of producing things or creating different services and stuff. So producing instead of produce, creating instead of create, right? Usually whenever you're working, I mean, after an adverb, no, is it an adverb? After, what is this? Preposition, sorry. So after a preposition like of, about, for, you always need a gerund, you know, knows ways of producing or about producing.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, those some details, I wouldn't really think or say that that would hurt that much you score. You know, content and pronunciation and everything's good. So I would say we're good.
Andrea, I have a question about how many conversations do I have to make? I don't know how to say it. Like in the speaking section, we have to do like 3 or 4 examples of this type, or
Oh, okay. We got 15 minutes, so as many as we can fit in that time.
in the exam, it will be the same.
Oh, okay, okay. No. In the exam, you just have to do one of these of each task. So you will have one of these independent question, just one question. You will get one of question 2, one of question 3, and one of question 4. So it will be a total of 4 speaking questions, but the other ones will be different.
Okay.
So yeah, right now we're taking our time, and we're also going to take our time in the group classes to practice and see the theory of it. But yeah, it's just one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So let's go with this one, or not, maybe. Okay, maybe this one. Do you think it's a good idea to date someone who speaks a different language than you do? Support your points with specific examples and details. 15 seconds. All right. So you can go now.
Okay, so I really think that dating someone is a very important part in your life. If you have the chance to date someone who speaks a different language, you have some advantages that you can earn or achieve. Like you can learn new things about his culture, and you I don't know, you can in maybe some months you can start talking a new language and be more prepared for the world.
Okay, great, perfect. So, okay, it was a bit different, but I like it. So you were telling me about the advantages of dating someone who speaks a different language. You were really talking about yourself. So I would always try to make it a bit personal. Like I believe that it's a good idea, and since, and then you tell me your reason, yeah, right? You like you can learn the language or you can learn about the culture or stuff. But I think it also works, if you because it I can tell, what your position is. So I think that's good. I would try to use maybe some more transitions for like when you're introducing your arguments. So you could say first you can learn about your partner's culture, and you could say in addition you could also maybe in a couple of months learn the language. So try to add those transitions there.
Okay.
And my advice for time management at the beginning, try to summarize it maybe a bit more or make it a bit quicker the way you're introducing your position. So that it doesn't consume all your time. But
Okay.
generally is good. Okay, now let's look at this one. It's an interesting one. Some health experts suggest that all liquids should be eliminated from one's diet except water. Do you think that this is a good idea to only drink water? Give reasons and details to support your argument. Let's see, 15 seconds.
Okay.
All right. So you can go ahead now.
Okay, so I don't consider myself as an expert in this type of topic, but I think it is not a good idea to only drink water in due to the fact that I think that maybe some liquids in other aliments or foods are really essential for our lifestyle. So I don't see myself um, doing this kind of diet in maybe in some years. So I I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea to do that.
Okay, great. So I really liked your response. I think that was really good. And it was a hard one, I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
It was a hard one, yeah. But I like that you make it sound very natural. I also like the fact that you're using very casual phrases like I don't see myself doing this, or I'm not an expert, but so that counts, it's a good thing to do. I like that you got a quicker introduction this time. You didn't take that long. It was like 10 to 15 seconds. So that's a thumbs up. I like that you're using other words rather than just because. You said due to the fact that. So great. Well done. I was gonna say something about this one, but I think you don't need that. So you're good. You're good.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna get you mixed up if I do. All right. Okay, no, I have someone. Okay. So, okay, now let's do another one. Okay. This one is, some people choose to exercise right after they wake up before going to work, whereas others exercise after work in the evening. Which do you prefer? Include some examples and details to support your answer. So working out after waking up or at night? 50 seconds. Okay. So off you go.
Okay, so I do have a personal experience about this topic, and I think that exercise before, right after woke up, it's a good alternative, due to the fact that you, personally think that I have complete all my tasks and I have more time in the afternoon or after school or in the university. I feel more productive when I do this kind of thing. So I really recommend it to try it at once in your life.
Okay. So good one, but I'm not sure. What was your response? So do you prefer to work out in the morning or in the evening?
Yeah, in the morning right after wake up.
Right after waking. Oh, yeah. I remember now. Okay. So good. I think that was really good. Maybe it wasn't as organized as the other ones, but it was good still. So careful again with gerunds. So right now I'm looking at my notes. You said, for instance, so I think it's a good idea to work out right after woke up, right? So right after waking up would be the right one. So careful with gerunds. Careful also with the, okay, what's this? The present perfect. Like I have completed my tasks, so completed, and emphasize it. You know, whenever you have a past tense, like with ed or something like I worked or I have worked, completed, make sure that you emphasize a bit on that so that they can recognize that you're using that tense or that you're doing it correctly. And yeah, so if you have a lot of ideas, then that's your chance to add more transitions, right? So you say, personally, I complete all my tasks in the morning, and what's more, I feel productive. In addition, this happens to me, so try to add that when you have a lot of things to say.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
Okay, Nicolas. Any questions?
Yeah, I have one. Do you think it's a good idea if I start talking about my personal experience, or first I have to choose one of the options?
Like if you start right off with your example, you mean?
Yeah.
Like you did in this one. In this case, it was good because you said, I do have some experience with this, and as a result, so I prefer this. So I think there are two ways actually. You can, this is, I mean, okay, this is the easier way and the most common way, and it's perfectly fine. You can get a perfect score by doing it. But if you prefer, so if you feel more, I don't know, if you feel like doing it, then you could also invert it. You could say, start with your example, like right off, like personally, I have been working out my whole life in the morning and it has worked for me and I feel more productive after doing it and stuff and blah, blah, blah. And then you say, that's why, and then you tell me what your position is, right? So that's why I prefer to work out in the morning. So it can work as well. So it's up to you, really. This is like the safest way of doing it. And it may look a bit disorganized if you choose to do the other way around. But it could work. You just have to practice. So I don't know. I haven't really heard you do that, so I couldn't tell you how it works, but you can do that yourself. You know, you can see if you feel better by doing it that way.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question?
No, I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll see you tomorrow in class.
Okay, Andrea. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.